Welcome back to our Bluesy Water channel. We recently did a series of videos on our technologies chart. So let me just get in real quick and show that to you here. Okay, so here's the chart. And we just finished 5 videos going over all these key technologies. These are what I call our really pivotal technologies. If you were to create a home clinic, these are the technologies you'd want to incorporate. There are a few additional ones, but these are really the main ones. And so what I wanted to do from here to just sort of make this real is kind of take some conditions or issues where people call me and they're challenged, and how you would actually apply this chart. So let's say somebody calls and they have, let's say, an autoimmune disease like Crohn's, colitis, lupus. Number one, so on this chart we have these different categories. So any autoimmune disease would fall in the systemic area. Now, everything kind of runs into everything ultimately. So when we go on our hierarchy here, I just want to review that. Number one, subconscious trauma memory programs are pivotal to any disease because they are pernicious. They could be running for thousands of years, literally through generational tree. In other words, these are traumas that just never left the gene pool. They're just so deep, they're so profound, yet they create tremendous energy imbalance. They're always affecting the energy body and the physical body. So hence we have number two, blockage of the energy flow. But what causes the blockage of the energy flow? Now, in some systems of medicine, that just is. The energy blocks, you get sick. I truly believe that it is trauma memories that is causing the energy blockage. So number three, we have environmental toxins, such as radiation exposure, chemtrails, GMOs, denatured food, you name it, air pollution. Okay, so if one is being constantly exposed to this weakens the body. But autoimmune disease, let's start with that. Let's start with one of the Crohn's is in the gut, lupus is just organ general. So pick your autoimmune disease. The body is attacking itself. Now, so let's say someone's calling, we're back to the chart. So I want to go with this hierarchy. So let's first think about it. If it's an old, deep trauma memory that they can't clear, let's say there was a tremendous amount of abuse in this life, and they believe that they're not worthy, that this abuse is just recycling over and over and over. Now, the interesting thing with an abuse memory is that the question is, let's say you felt abuse from a father or a mother. Chances are this has been going on for many, many generations. So you could be experiencing what you think is that aspect of the trauma that you experienced, let's say at age 5 or age 6. But in actual, if you really dig into the subconscious deeper, this trauma might have actually originated, the voice and the face of that trauma could have gone back 7, 8, 9, 10 generations. And it's just replaying. So when you're really trying to source the trauma origins, it's like who wrote, Imagine There Is No Heaven? John Lennon. But let's say somebody's playing it in a lounge. Do you think they wrote it? Or let's say you hear that same song. No, the spirit and the origination of that song came out of John Lennon. So same thing with the trauma memory, although you may experience that energy, that replay vividly in a parent, it actually could go back 7, 8, 9, or further back. So when you track these memories, they're almost like songs in your consciousness back to the source. A lot of times when you do that, you can clear them, has a profound effect on actually relieving a deep energetic grab on the body, and now all of a sudden the body just clears and you feel really good. So I just want to keep that in mind when you're trying to work, let's say, with an autoimmune disease, which feels like you're attacking yourself. But if it's a memory in your mind, that's, you know, memory of abuse, that would feel like self-attack. So then you're starting to literally attack, or the immune system is literally, you know, manifesting that as an autoimmune disease. So why is that important when we go to the chart? Because this category, subconscious programs, chi stagnation, in other words, the blockage of energy due to the playing of this memory or program, multi-generational, could even be a past life, requires looking at the therapies that work really, really well on clearing subconscious programs. So now, just to go to another place, we're looking at our trauma release program as a very core practice. Anything on the trauma release program, there's all these steps. Breathing, we have that on the chart. Trauma release exercises is not on the chart, but this is something one can learn to do. We have the chi machine, we have the vibration machine on the chart. We have the rapid release machine. So we have really a lot of key players on this chart. We didn't include trauma release exercises because it's limited to trauma. It's not a technology, it's a practice you can learn. And you have some additional therapies here. And so definitely with any really issue, you're going to be looking at always the subconscious piece. But autoimmune, the body's attacking itself. Okay, so we're going to work on doing a vibration machine using the rapid release. This homeopathic protocol works with the subconscious, the rapid release, like we mentioned, and the chi machine is very good at unwinding and relaxing and creating kind of a letting go, healing space for the memories to come up and be healed. And then the breathing practice found on the nervous system. So these are all practices you would want to incorporate. Now, on the systemic level, since this is a systemic disease, here we go. The vibration machine gets high marks in both places. Molecular hydrogen therapy. So when you have autoimmune disease, the body is going into this inflammatory state, and it's attacking these systems. Hydrogen therapy will offset that inflammatory response. It works profoundly on inflammation, and it helps the cells heal. Now, if you're trying to heal very damaged cells, PMF therapy is interesting because it will pump the damaged cells, help them recover quicker, and is a very good complement. We did a video on that with the hydrogen. It's a molecular micro pump. This is a cellular micro food with the cells. However, once we're looking at autoimmune again, in order to get to these obscure memories, this is kind of like you become your own virus checker. PMF can help put you in deep meditative brainwave states, and it's in that dreamlike imagination field that the memories show up. They show up more in dreams, in the imaginary mind, because they're, you know, when one experiences a trauma and the body kind of shuts down its energy field, it buries these memories very deep within. So they only really, the subconscious by definition is kind of a more understood or experienced in a dreamlike state or an imaginary state. So when do you go into this state? When do you process the subconscious? When do these memories try to come up and show themselves? When you're dreaming or deep down in the theta zone, which is like just before you go to sleep and the mind's drifting off. This is a brainwave meditation state. So this is where you can do a lot of healing and get to the subconscious. All right. So this is not a typical way to think about, quote unquote, an autoimmune disease, but this is a much deeper approach. So ozone therapy, autoimmune diseases generally are not going. You're not going to have so much. It's not so much a pathogen, but if the system weakens, let's say in the gut, or an organ system weakens, yes, you can start to get microbes, and ozone therapy will go after pathogens if they're going opportunistic at the body. Rapid release, once again, critical to the trauma program. You can start to enter through the great deep vibration with the vibration machine. You can, let's say you have a organ that's being attacked or compromised. You can do a tremendous amount of vital energy pumping of that organ and help it release temporarily at least from the subconscious field that's creating a blockage or energy strangulation and that might be affecting the liver or the spleen. So this is like a beating back the attack. Now again, it might not be the root is going to be always here. Again, this is more and more research is coming out that explains the subconscious. If you look at Bruce Lipton, he talks about this. There are books by Brian Weiss and past life information showing up in hypnosis. Generational memories, there's new work coming out showing, how generational memories, they're doing studies in generational memories with, I believe, worms even. So, doesn't take, if you really sit down and contemplate this, you know that if I send you an email with a virus and you send it to 10 friends, it's the same virus being passed along to different people. So if you just extend that into when you're born, you're actually not just getting the physical aspects of your parents, but you're actually inheriting literal memory states that are very traumatic. That's it. If you Google homeopathic miasms, which I'll show you quickly, miasms are generational disease states that are passed down. They can go back about 7 generations. These are the various disease states that are in the miasms in homeopathy. So they recognize that if you're suffering with, for instance, let's say, syphilis miasm, in other words, your great-great-grandmother or father had syphilis, your mental states would be sense of destruction, homicide, suicide, very intense mental states. You might have physical ulcers, the sense of everything's impossible, kind of all or nothing, despair, psychosis, devastation. Very, very, these are people who can go out and do some really serious damage. And this could all be due to the fact that there's a disease leftover energetic state of syphilis that never got cleared at the trauma level. It might have been cleared physically, but the actual state of the insanity of the disease never got cleared. Same goes for every one of these diseases. There's these keynotes. So that's used in homeopathy a lot. It's very common understanding in the field of homeopathy. And we actually go back. We have a homeopathic protocol where the body can feed its own deeper informational subconscious fields back to itself to help trigger a healing. So homeopathic is essentially giving yourself an energetic mirror of a much deeper state in your body that you can't have in a more obscure state. It's able to take the more subtle nuanced states running in your subconscious, amplify them to very, very strong, refined fields to where it's like literally an energetic mirror that kicks the body into recognizing this deep, obscure memory and clearing it. You can Google homeopathy and miasms. So we're going to keep coming back to this subconscious trauma memories. And for those of you who can embrace this, understand it, do the research, I'm telling you, you're going to have a leg up in healing because you're going to understand that even though it's hard to get to and it seems almost impossible, if you start investigating this work, this is a kind of intuitive process. It's more akin to being a musician, not reading the music, but feeling like you're a blues player or jazz player or a soul funk player, whatever. Not reading sheet music, you just feel it and you know it. That's how you have to approach the subconscious. It's there, you can sense it, but more in the sensory, imagination, that kind of quality of consciousness. It is not left brain. You're not going to know it through your intellect. So let's say you had lupus. You would say, I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything in me that may be contributing to my experience of lupus. But when you say the word lupus, you want to really feel the things that are suffering inside of you. So you want to scan your body and really describe, in a sense, as you get into this, what's going on. You want to be very real about your suffering. Now, the I'm sorry, please forgive me is saying, well, I have a problem. I really want it solved, but so far I'm stuck. So something's going on in there. I don't know what's going on, but I need help. So you're actually sourcing out the problem, but you're identifying the problem as you source it out. So there's a part of you that actually has the ability to solve the problem, but you don't, most people don't really believe that. They're too caught in the problem. They're stuck in the mind. They don't sense that they can surrender the problem. But part of the process of surrender is to be clear about what's going on, to state your case, as I say. So I'm cleaning with my thoughts about. So let's say you have whatever the thoughts are. Let's say you're worried about this disease. You've tried everything, whatever it is. I'm cleaning with my experience of. Here you're getting more into feelings. Let's say you're depressed or you're anxious, you can't sleep. State that. You're stating your case through your case is expressed globally. In terms of here's the overview, here's the specific thoughts, here's the specific experiences. Then it's very interesting. It covers different dimensions. You're saying in general, I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything in me that is not love. So really what that means is, ultimately you're really love, but something's going on in you that's blocking you from realizing that's who you really are. You're 100% love. So you're stating that part that you're not realizing your total enlightened state. Sorry, please forgive me for anything in me that may be contributing, and you close anything, in general that might be contributing to my experience of this problem. So the opening and the closing are general, and these are getting more specific. Very interesting prayer. If you really meditate on this and understand and do it, you're opening up the doors for a higher level intelligence to go to work on your problem. All right, so there's versions of this prayer. And so once again, we're back to the subconscious. We're back to a much deeper source of the problem. And in pragmatic terms, once again, if all memories are wonderful and blissful, you don't suffer. It's because something grabs you so strongly, but it doesn't have to be something in this life. It doesn't have to be necessarily originating. There's nothing new under the sun, as King Solomon said. You really are playing and replaying kind of the same storylines that have been going on for millions of years, just a newer version. But what you don't recognize is that this might be, you don't see the core kernel of where it originated. Alrighty, so this is, something that somebody would not think about if they're working with an autoimmune disease. But if you start to meditate on this once again, I think you'll see, aha, okay, here's this, not to be redundant, but here's this heavy duty memory. I don't know where it's coming from. It's just grabbing my energy body. Therefore, my body is suffering. So when you start looking at, let's say, some of these therapies, you realize, well, okay, this is, by the time my body's suffering, I'm hopefully going to backtrack it while I work at, let's say, trying to offset the damage. So if somebody's trying to come and kill you every day and they come to your house and then one day you figure out they think you're somebody else and you show them that you're not, you go, oh, they'll stop coming. So there's a lot of misguided, deep subconscious routines in your body that are coming at you and they don't, you haven't informed them or awakened them, let's say. All right. So we're going to go into another example in our next video. And this is kind of loosey-goosey. I just want you to get familiar with a deeper line of thinking and then refer to the chart. Always look at subconscious programs to treat stagnation. Now, it's going to take a bit of time to kind of sense into a process that can get to the memories. In our next video, we're going to look more at a psychological state. All right, thank you.